Right now, you are getting important information about your inheritance, which is coming at you very quickly. The communication you have been anticipating is finally coming through, and it is occurring very rapidly. However, this is what exacerbates the severity of the problem. There is already legal protection in place. As soon as the system realized the risks, restraining orders are being implemented immediately for all of those flying monkeys and controlled pawns who have been performing the grunt work of attempting to obstruct what is rightfully yours. Every single person who was trying to tamper with your inheritance was instantly rendered inoperable. This is what the courts are making sure of. While they are being held at a certain distance, the riches that you have been promised is secure and en route to you. After decades of deliberate quiet, what they concealed is finally coming to light via the falsehoods. The walls are collapsing right now, and the legacy that is your name has been entangled in a web of falsehoods. This is not tomorrow or next week, but the walls are already collapsing. This discovery is not the product of luck. Instead, as if they were rats on a sinking ship, it is the outcome of a cosmic decree. Now, they who conspired in secret chambers and locked your heritage away in treachery vaults are attempting to get it. For AM, their phones start to illuminate. Their attorneys are frantically calling each other. To hide evidence that can no longer be concealed, their accountants are working through the night. And there is a lot of terror in their messages. They believe that while they feasted on your wealth, you would remain unaware, obedient, and tolerant of the scraps that they tossed out. But the alignment of the celestial planets involved changed when you stopped questioning and began to comprehend. When your focus changed from looking to seeing that the records they thought had been destroyed were kept, they hushed witnesses who were speaking. The reality they had buried was brought back to life. I have been unable to distract you in any manner. Every time manipulation has been attempted, it has failed, and now you stand on the edge of disclosure. They are concealing themselves behind barriers of deceit that are slowly coming down to expose the reality. The unsealing process has begun, and the cosmic tumblers have been placed in their proper locations. Secrets that have been kept under wraps for years are now being exposed and are rapidly spreading. When you were signing away your legacy, those family members smiled in your face. Now, you wake up screaming from dreams where your eyes don't see or comprehend. Spend every waking moment with them. There were many who believed they would spend their whole lives keeping these secrets to themselves. Rather, they find that the tombs of their deceit are exploding, exposing every secret document, every muttered lie, and every treachery that was carried out for financial gain. The universe keeps all of the receipts, and the whole amount owed is now due. They overlooked the fact that your inheritance was more than just hidden. Instead, it had to be protected and held in a cosmic escrow until you were strong enough to use its power. And because they were too spiritually blind to perceive the ancient protections that were triggered by their efforts to redirect your birthright, they left behind energetic traces that are currently burning across the night sky like beacon flames. They left behind every property they transferred, every account they drained, and every document they falsified. Energetic indications. Because of the mounting pressure in their chests, which seems like a crushing cosmic weight, they are unable to keep telling the lie. They can't get any sleep. The very cells in their bodies cry out the truth they have suppressed, and the food they consume turns to ash in their mouths. Some of them are making pathetic efforts to downplay the treachery they have committed by racing to create alternative narratives. They're going to say this: "We insisted that you weren't prepared in order to protect you." Those who have tasted the rewards of your stolen inheritance for too long will say things that are nothing but pure and utter nonsense. However, see how heavenly forces keep these inventions from ever reaching the stage at which they may reach their full potential. They are unable to speak, and evidence that contradicts the story they give suddenly appears. No more deceit is permitted under the idea of cosmic justice. There is a reason you are here. If you sense the call, respond to it. To get deep insights, unique material, and a vibrant community, click join. This goes beyond just being a member. An awakening is taking place. Enter your divine calling. Be a part of the chosen. The universe has put them in a situation where they must decide between two unimaginable options. Whether they decide to come clean and confront your knowing eyes, or to remain quiet and be crushed by their own falsehoods. Those people's hands tremble as they grasp phones, court paperwork, and whatever vessel will eventually bring you what has always been yours. Time is running out. The pressure is mounting. And when they finally realize how serious their betrayal was, your hands are trembling. Some individuals weep to themselves in peaceful places, while some who still believe they can control their own destiny keep screaming against the inevitable. The cosmic wheels of justice keep turning, you fools, whether they are acknowledged or not. They have to give in because they are helpless to fight. They are getting closer and closer to being admitted. It is unmanageable, all-consuming, and disastrous, much like a tsunami. It is to the imaginary world they have created. They are unable to describe the bodily signs of their stress to specialists who are baffled by their situation. Among these ailments are headaches that make people blind at critical times. They are unable to sign any more phony paperwork due to tremors, and crippling fear that hits just as they try to tell their untruth again. These people's bodies become into celestial battlefields where the struggle between truth and falsehoods is waged via symptoms that no amount of medicine can cure. The leaders of the biggest heist felt they were above the law and hence not held accountable. They now know that there are no exceptions, justifications, or plea deals allowed under universal law, and that it does not accept any plea deals. Decades of falsehood are being compressed into a reality that is so terrible that people can no longer ignore or tolerate it. Even if the people who were entrusted with safeguarding the statistics did not lie, the strain is rising quickly every hour. The figures themselves are truthful. Your inheritance, which was huge, life-changing, and rightfully yours, was stolen by those who seemed to be caring while stealing from you. Handshake transactions, shadow companies, and offshore accounts were used to do this. Let's spend some time learning about some individuals who shouldn't be in the world. A demonic coven was escaped by a skilled occultist, a former drone pilot for Black Ops who used his mind to fly swarms, and a multi-millionaire chief financial officer who was prescient enough to foresee market fluctuations before they happened. What qualities do these exceptional individuals have in common? All of them are in the city and in a certain sequence, specifically on our secret Discord server, where they talk about material that is not allowed to be included in public documents, such as property where family members' identities were moved via manipulations at midnight. Instead of being utilized to fulfill your divine destiny, the resources were used to finance the lifestyles of others who claim to have your best interests at the forefront of their thoughts. Betrayal poisoned what should have been a sacred trust and spread like poisoned sap across the family tree. Blood-based relationships turned into choking vines. Your inheritance was planned by the same folks who murmured, "Family first." Your future uncles who pledged protection but merely protected their access to what was never theirs to claim were stolen by aunts who kissed your face on vacations while signing paperwork. And examples of individuals who contributed to your inheritance were your cousins who became fat on the fruits of your heritage. His grace is a blessing. Click Super. Give more than $50 to help spread his light, and thank you. In terms of human comprehension, your contribution sows the seeds that develop his kingdom. The cosmic mathematics, the universal rule that ensures that balance will always be restored at some time in the future, was overlooked by their seemingly perfect calculations. They have constructed a perfect house of cards, and the winds of divine intervention are now blowing it about. They always took more than just money. Even if they thought they were smart, it was also a chance, a legacy, and the foundation on which you were expected to build a prosperous life that was unconstrained by their boundaries. The theft, disguised as a family duty, was exposed for what it really was by the universe. Right now, their plans fall apart with a startling degree of precision. In legally binding papers, financial organizations' previous actions are marked as dubious. Lawyers often discover provisions that have been missed. When the documents that were hidden in vaults are revealed, accountants can only find errors that cannot be explained by purposeful manipulation. Instead of just thousands, the whole scope of their deceit becomes apparent. Millions were diverted, including whole secret portfolios as well as individual homes. Lack of resources wasn't the issue. Instead, it was the deliberate theft and distribution of riches over generations by conspirators who professed loyalty to their families while committing premeditated treachery. What about the vacation homes they bought with the funds you gave them and used for family gatherings? Did you avoid those cars that they proudly showed because of your inheritance? Do you have the same access to educational opportunities that they gave their kids? However, who? No, you don't. Your birthright is the source of the funds. The lavish weddings, the far-flung vacations, the safe retirements. The cosmic larceny upon which all of these things were based is no longer acceptable. Some of them maintained thorough records, believing that this would protect them from any issues that would undoubtedly surface. The cosmic irony is what turns those exact records become the proof that ensures their annihilation. They now use the paper trails they created to support their actions as maps that go straight to their doors. Every transaction, transfer, and strategic maneuver they took to profit themselves at your cost is shown in these maps. They were expecting tears. To shield themselves from blame and accusations, they prepared for rage. They readied themselves. When they were searching your social media accounts for signs of devastation, they were utterly unprepared for the undisturbed grandeur that you had. You were building civilizations inside of yourself. Source energy is above their limited understanding of power, which is what you were harmonizing with. While they kept an eye on your motions to look for indications of a collapse, they were also keeping an eye on your whereabouts at the same time. The fact that you are unwilling to claim what is really yours and legitimate scares them. Even while they do all in their power to destroy the calm that exudes from you, they are perplexed by the fact that you can survive despite their attempts at sabotage. Their belief in their own supremacy is shattered by the tranquility. What is preventing her from shattering? They whisper to one another. What is the reason for his continued success? They're not yet desperate. Why then are they? It's a lovely joy to see them confused. It is simple to understand their suffering. Their concern only intensifies with each day that goes by after you wake up free from the weight of their treachery. They have laboriously constructed a tale that is increasingly faulty. Every objective you achieve without the inheritance they withheld, every happy moment you have without their consent, and every one of these things adds to their power over you. Their unchangeable deception cannot stand you now that you have become an irresistible force. You have forced them into a situation where they can only give up what was never theirs to take. They have been forced into this corner by your straightforward life in a state of peace rather than destruction. Your aura of incomparable peace disturbs the electromagnetic frequency of others around you. Every time your name is mentioned, the conversation loses interest. When people see your picture, their stomachs go tense. Sleep will vanish the moment you bring your achievements to their notice. They are unable of understanding how someone they have worked so hard to kill keeps developing, elevating, and omitting power that makes their own seem like child's play. The flying monkeys they send out to collect information include friends who unexpectedly get in touch with you after years of being silent, distant relatives who show an unexpected interest in your social connections and well-being, and those who look for indications of financial issues. All these shoddy scouting efforts manage to do is make everything more complicated. There are stories that say nothing has changed. The region is peaceful, rich, and free from problems that might have led to the extinction of lesser people. Of them, some become unhealthily obsessed with finding out where your seeming resilience to their different schemes comes from. For what reason do they consult financial advisors? How in the world is this possible? They ask about persons they have a connection with. when they are now yearning to understand the force that protects you from their constant efforts at financial and energy assassination. What knowledge do they have that we do not? They even investigate spiritual pathways that were formerly thought to be superstitious. Your unbothered vigor is a way of being rather than a tactic. Instead of a mask, it is your own self. It is the enduring resonance of someone who has acknowledged their own divine essence rather than a transient state. And those who function from the narrow perception of fear and poverty cannot lessen it. They only partially comprehend this. Allow your love to show if God's gifts fill your heart to overflowing. Give $50 or more by clicking this super thank you button to help sow seeds of faith that will change the lives of countless others. His riches is reflected in your giving. Serve as a conduit for His grace and see His kingdom grow via you. They are more than just human building bricks. They are also the barriers that are presently being removed between you and those who tried to deny you your birthright. Cosmic powers have issued restraining orders that extend beyond the filings filed in the physical world at the courts. Legal papers must have unquestionable signatures in order to be materialized. Judges who are not engaged in your case feel compelled to expedite it for reasons that are beyond their control. Files that have been overlooked, safety deposit boxes that have been overlooked, and the guilty conscience of a former conspirator who is no longer able to bear the consequences of their cooperation may all contain evidence. But in addition to the apparent, there are much more powerful forces imposing spiritual limitations on each and every flying monkey that was in charge of executing your betrayer's evil crime. When they try to damage your reputation right now, people who have been fabricating stories about you to justify their stealing will find that their words are becoming ash on their tongues. Make yourself aware of the unbreakable, steadfast, and divinely mandated barrier of protection that envelopes you. It renders their strikes useless. It makes their manipulations useless, and they will never be able to access your energy again. Therefore, these spiritual injunctions not only detect and stop known enemies, but they also identify and block anybody who has sided against your ultimate good. That's the remarkable precision with which they operate. All these people, the cousin who feigned ignorance to gain your inheritance, the family friend who saw the fraud but said nothing, the advisor who helped to transfer your wealth into the wrong hands, can no longer enter the hallowed hall that is your life. Voicemail receives all of their calls. They don't get their messages through. Furthermore, the mere notion of interfering with your restoration has repercussions that they cannot imagine but will undoubtedly feel. The universe has decided that they are not allowed to enter your domain. The mechanics behind this cosmic limitation are becoming more clear over time. The reason they are unable to contact you is a mystery. Particularly when they are attempting to contact you, the technology is broken. All of a sudden, there is no way to communicate via mutual ties. Unexpected obstacles seem to be obstructing the actual routes that lead to your destination. They can't even access your energy in their dreams. So creating spiritual walls that are impenetrable to their unconscious minds. Some people are using more and more drastic means in an effort to cross these sacred lines. Their last option is to dispatch messengers with seemingly innocuous communications. They claim distant family ties as an explanation for their frequent access, and they adopt new identities in an attempt to establish new connections. All of these methods are fruitless. These cosmic restraining orders are not restricted to merely identifying names, faces, or blood relations. Rather, they identify energetic signs. Those who are most truly interested generally find themselves having bizarre spiritual experiences when they seek to breach these barriers. These incidents include brief paralysis, rapid sickness, and accidents that cannot be explained logically in order to make it apparent that their participation will not be tolerated. The universe throws out more terrible warnings. These alerts signal that they have reached the end of their time to access your life energy. When the doors are shut, the coalition of dishonesty starts to break like cosmic lightning striking glass. Now, With a dreadful feeling of desperation, those who are united in their conspiracy are pointing fingers. The blame game escalates to unprecedented levels as each of them tries to downplay their part in what they now realize was a catastrophic error. The decision to conceal the trust documents was hers. "You won't notice the missing qualities," he assured me. "They told me that you had approved the moves." As the only goal turns into their own survival, their unity, which was built on the quicksand of shared guilt, breaks down. Once trusted relatives become longtime partners and accusers of criminal activity. Join forces. The family members who betrayed trust in addition to breaking bread can no longer stand to be in the same room as one another. A few people hurried to testify against the others in an attempt to get individual immunity. Some people participate in a frantic asset transfer with the intention of keeping some of their illegally obtained money. Some individuals flee to far locations, as if the distance between them acts as a barrier that shields them from being held responsible to everyone from the safety of your protected area. You can see the incredible implosion happen. It is not your responsibility to assist them in defeating them. Without your help, they are more than capable of destroying one another. When they discover too late that they have produced potential witnesses to their crimes rather than loyal accomplices, the most cunning of them, the architects of your disinherit, disclose their error. Their involvement with any other person makes them another possible traitor. Every single secret disclosed becomes a potential witness. Each and every act of dishonesty that has been out in collaboration with others develops evidence that may be used against them. This cosmic irony is extremely astounding. Those people who conspire to take your wealth are now robbing each other of what little dignity they have left. Private conversations may turn into battlefields when it comes to allegations. You overreached yourselves. You did not take your fair share. We may all be implicated by the evidence you left behind. Holiday gatherings become calculated conversations in which each family member is positioned to do the least amount of damage to their financial situation and reputation. Lifelong connections are destroyed by the corrosive poison of revealed dishonesty. The terrible truth now confronts those who were under the false impression that they were shielded by collective complicity. Among those who plunder the universe, there is no honor. The same people who really promised to remain silent now offer full disclosure in return for the accused leniency. 00:28:32:17 to 00:27:54:12. Not sure. When faced with the prospect of punishment, those who vowed to maintain secrets until the end of time suddenly spoke with a remarkable degree of honesty. They are now carefully distancing themselves from the criminals who committed the atrocity, despite their vow of unwavering family loyalty. It is quite fast for even those who are just somewhat involved. The facilitators, the blind turners, and those who have comfortable amnesia, to distance themselves from the situation. Between 00:28:33:08 and 00:28:58:04. Not sure. They make their claims with a recently acquired sense of moral clarity. We were constantly aware that something was off. We would never have taken part if we had known the whole scope of the problem. With a feeling of retroactive justice, they assert, keep an eye out for someone who has been away for a while to make a desperate return. Between 00:28:58:13 and 29 minutes and 30 seconds. Not sure. It is not a coincidental event as the walls close in and their options grow more and more constrained. Instead, their timing is purposeful. They arrive with gifts of fake remorse. They have well-prepared reasons, and they show up with convenient emotional scars that they hope will divert your attention from their involvement in the infringement of your birthright. Family members need to get back together. Between 00:29:57:19 and 00:29:30:11. Not sure. They will make their demands with the same level of gravity they have always had. Life is too short for discord, they would remark, philosophizing with some hollow insight. With obvious self-interest, they would suggest that the past should be kept hidden behind the flimsy facade of their act for as long as possible. Their sincere intentions are as clear as dangerous garbage.